agree with them on most
I
things.
don't know
so
why not.
I actually really, I appreciate you being here and saying.
What's going on, you guys? Today we have David Pakman and Megyn Kelly having a debate about the border. It seems like David Pakman is sort of having to handle two people, as Megyn Kelly and the Trump staff are both sort of taking their jabs at David Pakman. But David Pakman still seems to come out on top. Let's watch.
Incredible desperation. And I have to say, Hogan, this is not a personal attack in any way. You seem like a really nice guy. We don't know each other. There's almost an affirmative action with these Trump folks where if these were football coaches that had lost everything for a decade, they wouldn't, Kayleigh McEnany wouldn't be on Fox News. We wouldn't be going to Hogan and saying, give us your state. They've lost everything. And somehow, through some kind of affirmative action, I guess we still hear from them, but they're desperate, Megyn, because this has gone sideways for a decade.
Wait, what are you suggesting, David, that because the Republicans have had a rough couple of electoral cycles, everyone who is on Team Trump should just go underground? They shouldn't speak anymore,
No,
even though
by
he's
no means
going to be the Republican nominee?
No, I'm glad to hear from Hogan, but there's a degree to which we would say, wait a second, how could his analysis, or it's not about Hogan, how could any of these analyses really accurately reflect reality when these are the analyses that lost them everything in what, 4 or 5 elections in a row? I would approach it with caution.
Go ahead, Hogan. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Okay. Let's unpack that. By that rationale, I guess we should never hear from Hillary Clinton again either, because she lost. Any Democrat who loses an election, you can't hear from them. Anybody who worked in a White House, worked in administration, shouldn't have a say-so in what's going on in this country. Of course, this is a battle between those who love America and those who hate America, because the positions of both parties they've been clearly articulated now for a long time. And so I think moving into 2024, as we kind of reset, and now we've lived under the failed policies of Joe Biden for the last 4 years, where Americans have been kicked in the teeth. They can't afford gas and groceries. Crimes are spiking all over their communities. Wars are breaking out all over the world. The southern borders bringing in, fentanyl, killing our American citizens, human trafficking, child smuggling. It's all up. I think the stark reality of the fact that we've got an upcoming election where these two men uniquely have a
right here we have David Pakman sort of talking to the Trump staffer and letting him know, maybe we could think about things differently to even progress you further. Maybe if you let go of some of these ideas that are so strongly embedded in the right, maybe you would thrive even more. And you hear the Trump staffer immediately shoot that down, get defensive, and start throwing stones again, treating it as if it's a you against me type of thing. We have David Pakman literally wanting to come together to build ideas that will last longer, and you have the deranged Trumper who is going to make it you versus me and completely not understand the message that David Pakman's getting across.
Record, not as a governor saying, if you elect me, I promise I'll do this. I'm a senator. I did this for my state. Both of these folks were president. The records are stark. And the juxtaposition where we used to have to point back to Reagan, Megyn, you just played an incredible speech. Remember how good it was in the 80s? We can say we had record-setting success in record-setting time 3 years ago. It took one guy and his demented policies to tear us down this quickly. So this election, no question, is going to be significant for the future of America. But to say someone who lost an election or wasn't part of the winning team shouldn't have a say-so is so insane.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, no, of course I'm not saying they shouldn't have a say-so. What I'm saying is at this point, it seems clear the American people see through it. And the people who lost 5 elections in a row are not the ones I'd be listening to on policy. Now, with regard to a lot of the stuff that Hogan mentioned there, we can go but one by one or not. I mean, just to pick a couple of things, because there was a lot there. On inflation, I mean, listen, groceries and gas, they were even cheaper under Obama. They were even cheaper under Bush and cheaper under Clinton. I mean, yes, there is inflation. We have not had a deflationary spiral, but inflation's at about 3% right now, which is what every serious economist says is the target. With regard to the record right now, unemployment, I mean, it's almost silly for me to do this because the American people know, but We've
Why
never had
don't you try
unemployment
immigration?
below 4%. We've never had unemployment below 4% for this long in 50 years, and it remains there. Wage growth has outpaced inflation. GDP is a completely normal and healthy 3%. You know, it's like people know this.
Why don't you try immigration? Because that's in the news
Megyn,
today, David. Take that one up.
Well, I mean, ask me a question about it. What's the
question? Are we doing better under Joe Biden when it comes to illegal immigration than we were under Trump?
How do you define better?
Fewer.
People continue to cross over illegally as they have for, 100 years, 200 years?
So David Pakman is bringing up these different issues as far as inflation, as far as unemployment, these different policies that the left has that, you know, we're sort of getting together to become a greater impact, sort of maybe not in the immediate, but in the long term. And you see Megyn Kelly and this Trump staffer completely tear down what David Pakman is saying. They're not wanting to even listen to what he's saying. They bring up a completely different issue that, you know, as far as the immigration goes, yes, that may be a policy that the left may not have everything on top of, but that doesn't mean that what he's saying right here, that what David Pakman is saying is completely false. I think that Megyn Kelly and this Trump staffer, they don't want to be wrong, so they're going to throw everything they can to not be wrong. Let's keep on going.
The same.
I think that one of the funny things that has happened is that for months, I'm sorry, I think we're talking over each other.
No, I'm saying that's dishonest. You're just like, you're saying don't trust the Republicans on their messaging, and you come on here and want to tell me that it's the same. Like they're just continuing.
No,
there's been no increase.
There have been periods of
a couple of months ago we had 10,000 a day crossing the southern border. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think we're all talking over each other.
Now you know.
Go ahead, David. The floor is yours. Wait, Hogan, I'll bring you in, but let me defend that. Go ahead, David.
Oh, okay. No, listen, I mean, based on the Border Patrol statistics, there have been times during the Biden administration where crossings have on average been below where they were under Trump. At some points, they were above that. The funniest part to me about immigration is that now that Republicans themselves torpedoed the bill they wanted because Trump said, no, I need something to run on, I need something to do, Biden puts in place this limitation, which, by the way, doesn't solve the reason people are trying to come here. We need more immigration judges. I'm glad Biden made this point. Now that he did it, they're still not happy. And they're saying, well, it's only for political reasons. Why do you think Trump wanted to do this? It's also for political reasons. So this seems like a political game to me when the reality, Megyn, is we never permanently deal with DACA. We never permanently deal with the reasons people even want to come over here in the first place. It's a lame political football.
Wow. Okay.
Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more if you like this content.
Okay, go ahead. It's fascinating to me for me to hear. I have to say, David, I appreciate you coming on the show because we don't get a lot of progressives, and they know I don't really agree with them on most things.
I don't know why not.
I actually really I appreciate you being here and saying, you know, the way you see these things and the way the left views these things, because it's actually educational.
Well, I don't know about the left, but listen, I'm on the left. Countries have a right to enforce immigration policy. If you're here illegally, of course, you're subject to deportation. I mean, I think that there's a caricaturizing that happens of the left on this issue. I'm an immigrant from Argentina. We came here legally. I'm now an American citizen. People still write to me and say, you should go back to Argentina. But listen, I don't want the left characterized as something that it isn't on this issue. You'll never hear me say.
So there we have it, you guys. It's David Pakman still standing his ground, still, you know, getting a point across, or at least attempting to get a point across to Megyn Kelly. We have David Pakman really laying down the facts and staying true to what's going on. Yes, there were times to whenever the immigration rates were lower under Biden, but Trump knows that this is all good for politics. He knows how great this looks and how much of a pain point it is. So he's going to draw attention to it. He's going to draw a lot of tension and make that a tension issue, make that something of argument so that he can disprove different things so he can look better. He wants to play that role really well of I will protect you. That's all he wants to do. But we have David Pakman calling out Megyn Kelly and really wanting to get through to her. And, you know, we see how it goes. It's another day in the progressive way. Have a good one.